What's up guys, I'm Mr. Godzilla, and today we got the X Plus 30cm Yuji Sakai series, Godzilla 1984. Now as you may have gleaned from the title, this is my first review. What's that? Everyone's already reviewed this guy? And there's already a shit ton of X Plus review channels on YouTube? Yeah, you're right. Be that as it may, here's my review anyway. So let me break down how I'm going to do this. You'll have some people doing quick 2-minute reviews, beautiful, crisp, clean shots of the figure all the way around, really fancy editing techniques, just absolutely stunning video. Then you'll have people over here that are doing like 40-minute reviews and they'll just be talking the whole time about whatever, sometimes a movie, sometimes how their day was, I don't know, I don't watch them. And maybe about 30 seconds before the video ends, they'll give you some shots of the figure and actually review it. So what am I going to be doing? Bit of both. So I'm going to be giving this figure a number, completely arbitrarily. However, I'm going to be breaking it down to 5 categories. Hopefully they're here. If they're not, I'm going to look pretty stupid right now. Between those 5 categories, I'm going to add it up to 100, just so it's a little bit easier to comprehend for you. And then we're going to get one big arbitrary number. I don't know, people like numbers, this guy's getting one, so just deal with it, I'm done. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We got 5 categories. Ready? We got sculpt, pose, paint, detail, and a general impression of the figure. Alright, that's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 5. Now before we jump into it, gentle reminder, this is just my opinion. I in no way intend to discourage or encourage, really, you from getting what you like. Bottom line, if it turns your freshness on, get that thing. Alright, so let's get introduced to this guy. This is Godzilla 1984 from the film Godzilla 1984 in Japan. Also known as Godzilla 1985 here in the States, or The Return of Godzilla with Raymond Burr. Yeah. The film, as the US title suggests, is a return to form of the original 1954 Godzilla, with him being scary and a force of nature. Folly of man kind of thing. Oh, did you think I was going to play that? I probably can't. I won't. No, sorry. We did get kind of sidetracked in the 70s. Yeah, that speaks for itself. Although it is my favorite era, so I don't know what that says about me. I guess I'm a fake fan. Sorry, guys. Okay, moving on, we have the box here. Typical Sakai box. We got 2 pictures of Godzilla here. It says Sakai somewhere up here, 30cm series. Not much going on here. It's just a box. I do have the standard, as you don't see a Rick sticker here. The Rick came with a light up, as you can see here. Normally I don't care for light ups, and I didn't care when this guy came out, but I do think it looks pretty badass. That being said, no regrets, the standard version is perfect as it is. In terms of seams and joints, I don't really see much on this guy. The only kind of gap you're going to find is right here in the tail where you connect it with the hairdryer. But other than that, this guy's really clean looking. If you want to nitpick and really look, I see a line maybe around the tail at the base, maybe under his jaw, but it's perfect as it is. I got a statue as requested, and I'm happy with it. Good job, X Plus. In terms of articulation, we got this. Well, maybe you can kind of wiggle the tail around because it had to be put in separately. But, other than that, what are you expecting? This is X Plus. You want articulation, go buy Monster Arts or something, These are big boy toys. We don't need articulation. We like to put them on our shelves and have them watch as we cry ourselves to sleep. For the footprint, we got big. He is a jaw-dropping 22 inches long and 12 inches high, so you better make sure you have the shelf space for this guy before you pick him up. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this dude definitely is a shelf hog, but in my opinion, he's worth every inch. Let's see some size comparisons. Over here I have the Sakai 89, and 84 looks to be about a ½ inch taller. Alright, next up I have the regular 30cm 95, not the Sakai, and he's a bit on the larger side, so he's about an inch taller than the 84 here. Next up I have a Defo Real 84, another great likeness, but obviously much taller. And lastly, I have the 30 centimeter Kiryu, just to give you some variation. And he's also about 2 inches taller. And here it is next to the original 30 centimeter 84, and yeah, I'm glad I waited. Alright, I'm just joking, but the Sakai is for sure much better. So how much did it cost to get this guy? The standard retailed for about $210, and the Rick retailed for around $270. Given that's before shipping, you're gonna pay upwards of $300 easy at retail. If you have the opportunity to get this guy for around $300, $350, I would pull the trigger, because this guy's only gonna get rare as time goes on. He is a new release, 2020, but judging by most of the other Sakai releases, especially Shin, this guy I can imagine being really highly sought after. So get him now. Alright, now into the numbers. Alright, first up we have the Sculpt, and I gotta admit this is probably my favorite part about the figure. Now there's a lot to love about this toy, and yes, it is a toy, but the Sculpt is spot on to how I remember this guy from the movie. It's based off his entrance at Shinjuku, so don't be expecting him to look like Saibot. Looking at the head, the shape is right, the ears look great, texture is just fantastic, the teeth look incredible, the eyes really just pop out. The chest looks perfect. I love his arms, his legs. I mean, I don't see any areas that really need improvement. It's just really, really well done. Every little patch on him is sculpted out nice. Everything except the bottom of his feet, but that's a given. One of the most iconic elements of 84 has to be his fangs, and surprisingly a lot of figures either leave it out or just don't do it justice at all, but this guy's fangs look beautiful. I mean, they just stand out. They're proportionate to his suit, and they really add to his menacing demeanor. Additionally, I think the Sculpt is maybe just a tad bit too menacing, at least how I remember this Godzilla. It's for sure stylized, but he was inarguably goofy at times, and not exactly as death stary as this dude. In a lot of the promotional material, and really throughout the movie, you'd see his mouth open and roaring, so I could see you losing a few collectors on this because it is shut and you can't open it. I mean, I guess you could, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. Despite that point, I don't think it detracts from this figure at all, and it is modeled after that specific scene. So in the interest of giving it an objective likeness score, I'm going to give the Sculpt a 10 out of 10. Alright, next up we're going to take a look at the pose, and as I mentioned, this figure is subtitled The Final Battle at Shinjuku, so the pose is based off of that scene respectively, and honestly I think it's almost an exact match. It looks really, really cool. I can see some people out there thinking that it's a little bland because he is just kind of standing there with his arms up. But, I mean, that's how he looked in a lot of the movie, you know, except when he was on the ground. He just looks menacing standing there. It doesn't need to be anything extravagant. It's really, really well done. I'm going to give the pose a 10 out of 10 as well. As far as the paint goes, I'm going to start with the spines because that's the most unique part of this figure for me. As you can see, they have a cool blue tint kind of highlight going on where it would normally be white. And I have so many Godzillas that just have bone white spines. There's nothing wrong with it, but it really makes this guy pop on the shelf. Like, it makes him pretty unique because you don't really see that. I don't think any other Plus figure has that, unless it's like a Rick edition, but this is a standard. And I'm really glad that the standard included it as well as the Rick. The teeth, claws, and toes also have a really nice color to them. Like the spines, they're not bone white, they have more of a yellowish bone color going on there. And some screenshots from the movie that I pulled, you can tell that it wasn't exactly white, so I'm glad they went with this coloring. It just makes it more interesting, really, and more realistic rather than just being a straight white color. Another iconic element of 84, at least for me, are the eyes. And they're spectacular in this figure. They probably couldn't have done a better job. They just look fantastic. You can see the blood vessels popping out there, and then you move into the iris, kind of like a sun ray kind of vibe, maybe like Hedorah's eyes. He's got that kind of same iris, really well detailed. And now to the body paint, and this is where I gotta admit I'm a little let down. The movie was dark most of the time, so I like that it's a more of a dark charcoal color. Kind of matches what I would picture him as, at least in my head, and the suit does look like this, but it's not this dark, I wouldn't say. This is a little too dark. Now I know this is from that specific scene in Shinjuku, so I'm a little forgiving on that, but as a figure, I think it just needs something else. It needs maybe a little dry brushing, little highlights, just something a little more, because it does blend in when it's dark, and it needs to stand out more. Not that it doesn't in the other areas I mentioned, especially the spines, but I think they could have just added a little touch up and it would have been flawless. But for that reason, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10 on the paint. I don't think you could go wrong with the detail in this figure. Every individual pore on this guy is all specifically carved out. There's really nothing that's flat, smooth, glossy. Nothing that I would think takes away from the figure in any manner. So I'm going to go ahead and give the detail in this guy a 10 out of 10. Lastly, I'm just going to talk about my general impressions of this figure, mostly just because I couldn't figure out a fifth category to talk about. I mean, toys aren't that complicated, so, you know. Anyway, not much to say about this guy that I haven't said already. He's just fantastic in all those remarks that I mentioned, and you can't really go wrong with him. He looks great on the shelf, and I have no complaints, honestly. I really dig this guy. Therefore, I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10 in my general impression. Alright, now it's time for the big arbitrary number. We have a total of 99 out of 100, which equates to 9.9 out of 10. Guys, I'm pretty much saying this figure is near perfection. You do some little touch up in the paint, I don't think you can go wrong with this. Maybe you even want to try getting the drawer open. You know, that's all for you. As it is, I really love this figure. It is in the top 3 of my collection, no doubt. I have a lot of them here, you can see. But this guy really stands out for me. He's just really cool. And the 84 design's really been growing on me. This figure definitely helped a lot. So if you can get your hands on one, now's the time to do it. You can't go wrong with this guy. Thanks a ton for watching. If you like me and you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you didn't, then don't, whatever. I don't expect this channel to go anywhere anyway. It's just for fun. As always, I've been Mr. Godzilla. Hats off to you and stay fancy.